Hello, my most amazing artists. I am so happy that spring is finally here, although it is really insanely cold today. I don't know why. And I thought what I would do today, instead of give you a typical lesson, is give you a tour of my sketchbooks and my journals and all the nature journal entries I've done to give you some ideas on how you can bring nature journaling into your own art practice. So join me as we take a tour of some of my favorite nature journaling entries in my sketchbooks, dating back a really long time, some of them. And let's go see if we can get inspired. All right, artists, if you'll notice today, it's just the bare table. I don't have my messy mat because I'm going to give you a little tour through some of my sketchbooks to show you some of the nature things that I've done. So I'm going to start with my smaller watercolor journals, and we're going to go back to 2015. That was a while ago. And I'll show you some ideas for what you can do for your journal or for your nature journal. So pets are a wonderful idea. Draw your pets. It helps to draw them while they're asleep because they don't move a lot while they're asleep. And be very quiet that you don't wake them up. And definitely don't eat while they're asleep because they'll wake up and want your food. So this is Abby, my dog, my golden retriever. And that worked out pretty well because she was snoozing. All right, here are some weeds basically that I found in my yard. I think this is a type of henbit. And these are these tiny little, I don't really know what they are, but they're little tiny flowers that grow under by my pecan trees. And these are lilacs. I have a lilac bush that's barely hanging on. I need to move it. It doesn't get enough sunlight. It didn't even bloom this year, so I don't think it's very happy. All right, let's see what's next here. Oh, more pets. For those of you that were in my first grade classroom, you might remember Biscuit and Blackberry. And I ended up taking a picture with my phone, and they're a little bit cartoon-like in this, just because I was gonna make like a little sign for their, oh, excuse me guys, for their cage. It's cloudy, so it's making me sleepy. This one, I worked really hard on. I was at my Mima's house, and she lives out in the country. And I just kept putting these little daubs and dabs of watercolor. And at the bottoms of the trees, it's darker, and at the tops, it's lighter. And there was one tree here in a field, and some of the grass was dead because this wasn't really hot summertime. So there's that journal. Let's go to the next one. How about, oh, this is 2015 going into 2016. So let's see what we can find. There's a great quote at the top of this one. Love this. We're all stories in the end, just make it a good one. Okay, so this is my porch, and I was actually sick for several days and on my sofa in the living room and bored out of my mind, and so I could see this view out my window. I didn't even have to go outside. I just painted this. This is one of our pecan trees. And this is the plant that I'm pretty sure is in my classroom at the Big Kids School. So pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is one of my very, very favorite pages because these colors really speak to my heart. This is a bird's eye view or God's eye view of the Mediterranean Ocean. This is in Spain, I believe, or Mallorca or something. I don't know how to say that. At any rate, I was watching a movie, and it showed this in the movie. It had, I guess they had like a helicopter flying over because the movie's too old for them to have a drone doing it. And they showed people swimming, and these were rock outcrops in the water. So up here where this yellow was were where the rocks were sticking up out of the water. And the water was this beautiful aqua. And down here where this dark phthalo blue is where it was shadows, and it was deeper under the water, and it was underneath these rocks. Almost like the rocks had little shelves that came out, but then had shadows underneath. So I was so captivated by that I just had to draw it and paint it. And this is one of my favorite entries in this journal. All right. Oh, and we caught a little toad in our garden. My son and I did, and decided to do some research. So most of the toads that live where we live, and we live in Oklahoma, are woodhouse toads, named by Samuel Washington Woodhouse in 1854. And they are very welcome guests in your garden because they eat lots of bad and nasty insects. Now, if your dog ever licks one of these toads, these little glands right here secrete something that make it taste really bad. So your dog will probably run away. They don't want things to eat them. This was another really fun idea that I got. I think I got this idea from Kathy Johnson. She does a lot of really fun journaling workshops and books. And it said to kind of map out a walk. So I took Abby, our golden retriever, for a walk, and we stopped at these different places. At the time, they were putting new electric or telephone poles down our alley, so they had left one and just kind of cut it off temporarily while they put the new one in. And then Abby had to stop and sniff, each one of these things. There was a white Siamese cat by our carriage house. She loves walking right along the edge of the road on the curb so she can sniff everything. Then she went to our little herb garden, and we just have pots by the back door by our deck that have herbs in them, because I'm not good at growing anything else. And there was a toad, and she sniffed it, and she was like, oh yeah, I remember those. Those don't taste good. And we went in the back door, and then she had a nap on the fireplace, on the hearth, in the library. So that was Abby's day. She was all pooped out after that, and she had a good time. All right, let's do another one. How about 2016, 2017? So let's see here. Okay, so one of my favorite flowers that we have in our yard is called the moonflower. And they are not blooming right now, although it just came back up out of the ground. They like it really hot. So we didn't get a lot of blooms last summer because it rained a lot. But they bloom in the evening, and they're very large. They're kind of these trumpet-like flowers. It's also called Jimson weed or Jamestown weed. And these really cool sphinx moths with really long tongues will come at night and feed in these flowers. And they're huge moths, and it's really, really cool and special when you see that. Really, really enjoy that in my garden. All right, let's see. So we went to the lake fishing, and I just did this very, very light, almost a wash. Did a tiny bit of shadow here. I was copying the technique that Beatrix Potter used when she does sketching. I didn't want to go very dark with the watercolors. I wanted it to be really, really light. So if you have washable watercolors, this would be a really good technique because they're not as dark as regular watercolors. Okay, and some of you know that I had you do this in class. I wonder, I notice, it reminds me of. I did this with our Bradford pear tree, which is a tree that actually does not produce fruit. It's just, I don't know why people really are crazy about these trees, but I talk all about, I wonder, why is it budding out so early? Because this was February, it's winter time. And a lot of things in our state do bud really early in the spring, almost when it's still winter. I talk about there being white fuzz all over these branches, and here's the little buds coming out. And right now my Bradford pear has green leaves all over, so it doesn't look like this anymore. It had a purple tinge, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Oh, I even found the Latin name for it, Pyrus caleriana. I'm not good at Latin, but Pyrus, Latin Pyrus, reminds me of papyrus, which is what they would make paper out of, papyrus plants on the Nile a long time ago. All right, last one is a daffodil. And it looks like I got this in late February as well. My daffodils come up really early all the time, so really enjoy painting them. I wonder, I notice, and it reminds me of with this as well. So this is a fun activity that you can do, and you'll learn a lot. All right, let's go to the last one. This is 2017 is this one. Words and music, I love that little phrase. Music is the paintings and the words are the words. Okay, so here's another journaling class I did with Kathy Johnson. She's amazing. This is how you spell her name. If you could look her up, I think she has several YouTube videos. She's just a wonderful nature enthusiast, and she's incredibly talented and not afraid to share with other people and to help other people. She's a very kind-hearted person. My son had found these 2 dead butterflies on the lawn. And guys, I mean, butterflies die. I hate to say it, but they do. Everything dies, you know, sooner or later. But I wanted to celebrate them, so I laid them down and I drew them and painted them. And then these words came to me, this little weird kind of poem, and it just really touched me. So that was a lot of fun. Well, you know. All right, and here we have an Indian paintbrush, which is considered a wildflower in our state, a very beautiful wildflower, especially if you've seen a field of these. They're just like on fire, like a flame. They're so pretty. They're one of my favorite wildflowers to paint. Oh, and this is a sad story, you guys. So my dog, she's a golden retriever, so she's a bird dog, and she found a baby brown thrasher that had fallen out of its nest. And she killed it and brought it to us. I was like, thanks, Abby. I don't know what to do with this. So we laid it down, took some pictures of it. I talked to my children about it, you know, about how sad it was that it had died and what we could do. And we ended up burying it. And then I drew this from the pictures, just kind of mark the day and just the time that it happened, and to somehow give its life some meaning. Its life had meaning in my journal, even though it was cut short. That was kind of special. All right, now we're gonna go to the big giant journal. I hope this will fit on the phone. I'll probably have to, look at that. I'll probably have to move it around quite a bit so you guys can see. So let me get to a page and then we'll get started. Oh my goodness, it's huge. I might have to move. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of look sideways. I apologize, guys. Okay, so we went to the mountains and I did this sketch, and I'm gonna move it around so you can see it. I showed some of you this in class. This took me a really long time, and actually my family got really tired of waiting on me and left me while I finished it. If that happens to you, just take a picture and then work from the picture. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's not really cheating, no matter who may tell you that it is. All right, let me do this half first for this one. So here's more nature journaling. My very favorite flowers are irises, and we have this type that grows in the yard. And so as soon as they came up, this was the 22nd of April, I wrote the date, I cut some and painted them. I even painted this one that had already bloomed because I thought it looked really cool. It had a lot of yellow on it, even though normally it would just have yellow right here. And this was kind of the dead part. And this one was unfurling. It was going to open. And I think it did open the next day. So I had a lot of fun doing that. And I wrote a little memory here about where these flowers came from. I don't know if you can see that. My mom and dad had these at their house, the house I grew up in. And before my mom sold her house, I was able to get some and put them in my yard, which makes me really happy. All right, and then my son found this little robin's eggshell in the yard, and I had to paint it too. That was a lot of fun. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, this is a big spread. Let's do this part. Yeah, I want to talk about the baby brown thrashers here. So I was actually trimming our holly in the front of the house and cutting it down quite a bit because it was really overgrown. And I didn't realize this, but I had cut the cover from the top, and underneath was this nest of baby birds. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I just got one of the branches I cut off and laid it carefully over it to protect them and to camouflage them. And my husband and I sat on the porch and our kids, and we watched the mom and dad feed them. And they never flew directly to the nest. They always flew to the side of the holly and then jumped through the middle of the holly and then went to the nest, which I thought was pretty smart because a predator then wouldn't know where the nest was. They fed these little babies. We watched them grow up. We would, peek at them every once in a while. They got feathers. Here they are like completely naked. We watched them grow feathers, and we watched them all fly away and start families of their own. So that was something that was really special that we did. And I'm really glad that I marked that time here because I would have forgotten about it. And you know, if I just took a picture of this, which I actually took a picture and then did the painting because I didn't want to stand over them because they were very stressed. Every time we were there, I think they thought we were there to feed them, and obviously we weren't. And the parents couldn't come because we were there, so we tried to stay far away. But if I had just taken a picture of this, I would have forgotten about the picture. You know, it sat on my phone for ages. But since I painted this, it has such a lovely memory. It really helped me retain what had happened and have a good memory about it. So that's pretty cool what drawing and painting can do. Okay guys, that's it for nature journal stuff. I wish you luck, have lots of fun, go out, be creative, and experiment.
Time for a gravy break.
She's like, no.
Gravy, come here. Come here. Oh, I think she's feeling shy. She had some carrots, so she's probably just wanting to be left alone. Did you see how long she was when she was stretched out? Her's a long girl. Hi, baby. All right, we'll see you later. Bye.